What's up, everybody? I'm Lucius the Viking Realty, and today we're going to talk about this new NAR settlement, how it's affecting Indiana area of realtors, and how everything I'm about to tell you could completely change over the next 30 days. Okay, I'm not trying to be dramatic here. Things are just changing a lot recently, and in the past couple of months, realtors have gone through a lot. Check on your realtor friends. We're not okay. The gist of the situation is there was an antitrust lawsuit somewhere in other parts of the country, essentially, that realtors weren't being open and honest about how they got paid and how or where that money was coming from. Now, with that being said, this is easily explained if I just walk you through the process of what our conversation would look like if I were to list your home, and now if I were to help you buy a home. If you and I were getting ready to sit down at the table and you came to me and you said, Lucius, I want you to help me sell my home. The old conversation would have looked something like this. My fee in order to sell your home is 3%. And what I generally recommend for my clients is that you offer 3% to a buyer broker in order to help compensate someone else to bring a buyer to the table. Now, that number is negotiable. It always has been, and you can go anywhere between 0% and 100%. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that you pay my 3% for selling your home, and it does increase your chances if you offer some sort of compensation to another broker, because it's going to bring more people to the table with more clients and increase your chances at selling your home. That's the old conversation that we were going to have. Now let's focus on the new conversation. Now, as of July 1st, that conversation is going to go largely the same. The only difference is I can't put the buyer broker compensation in the MLS and put it on the internet for people to see. They have to ask for it, essentially. So I'm going to say pretty much this. Hey, my fee for selling your house is 3%. I would hold 3% back as part of your negotiations to allow a buyer broker to come to bring a client to the table. But it may be that the buyers are going to pay that out of their own pocket and you may not be responsible for it. Either way, I'm just going to say, hey, it's a good idea to have that money available and to count that when you're accounting for selling your home. And if we don't end up using all of that 3%, good on you. You made a little money, kept some in your pocket. Now, this is more important, and this is what's really going to shock home buyers, okay? Is now, before I can show you a home, we're going to have to sit down at the office and I'm going to have to say, hey, you're looking at buying a home. I'm a professional. I get paid. The old way of doing things is that compensation was offered up front to me on the internet, on the MLS, as soon as I looked at a home. So I could tell what I was going to get paid in order to show you a home. Now we have to assume that that number is zero and that you're going to pay me out of your pocket in order to help you, in order to help facilitate your purchase. And we can negotiate with the seller in order to have them pay my salary or pay my compensation, but it's not a guarantee. So you're going to have to sign a document up front that says you understand that I make 3%, 2%, 2.5%, whatever my compensation is. My compensation is 3%, and you need to know that ahead of time. So when you buy a house, no matter what house it is, and no matter what we negotiate, my net is 3%. So I'm going to say, hey, that's how I get paid. This is what you can expect to pay at the closing table, whether they're going to pay it or not, which is what makes all of this so important for you to have someone who knows how to negotiate, who knows the ropes, and who knows what they're doing, so you don't end up getting screwed when you're buying a house. I don't think this is going to be a major concern. I think largely, for the most part, people are still going to expect that they're going to need to offer some sort of compensation, because the reality is housing prices have gotten so high that coming up with enough money for your down payment, for the title work, the appraisal, the inspections, and now to add on top of that compensation for your broker, that's a little bit unrealistic. And it's being negotiated already that, hey, the sellers are going to pay X amount of dollars towards it. So while my compensation may be 3% of the final purchase price, they may already be offering 2 or 2.5%. Now, what I have seen is that leading up to this, the amount of compensation being offered on the MLS was already starting to decline, which means my buyer clients are still having to come out of pocket. So if it's something that I think, hey, I call the agent, you're interested in this house, and I say, hey, I've got a client who's interested, and are you offering any compensation for the buyer broker? They can say, yeah, we're offering 1%, 2%, 3%. And then I'm going to have to come back to my buyer and say, this is what they're offering. This is what you're going to be responsible for. So we put it all in writing. We sign the contract. We get you the title. Everything goes well. But that's basically the premises on what has changed as of today. I know that was a lot of information and it came out really fast, and I apologize, but there's been so many changes and there's so much going on in the real estate world right now. It's hard to keep it all together. But once again, you don't have to take my advice. This is just my 2 cents. And I'm just trying to make sure you don't pay thousands of dollars more to buy a home than what you have to. Again, I'm Lucius the Viking Realtor. You're looking to buy or sell a home. So thank you for watching Let's Talk Real Estate.